Hello there, a very good morning and welcome to your Primetime Breakfast News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva. Let's start off with a look at your headlines. The resolution on Sri Lanka to be tabled at the UNHRC session in Geneva today. Strike action at hospitals across the island called off. And security at all museums strengthened. On to your stories in detail now. The U.S. draft resolution on Sri Lanka will be tabled today at the 19th UNHRC session in Geneva. According to Minister Nimmal Siripala de Silva, who is part of the Sri Lankan delegation in Geneva, the preliminary steps have been taken in this regard. Let's now take a look at several views that were expressed at different forums regarding the U.S. draft resolution on Sri Lanka.
American Adhirajya.
This is the first step towards being a colony of America. Not only America, even India has now joined this conspiracy completely. It is said that the result of a 2-decade-long conspiracy will be seen tomorrow. They cannot take decisions on Sri Lanka there. It is not a law. I have seen newspaper articles where the American representative has said that they are not imposing a law on us. He doesn't have to say it. They cannot impose laws on us. They can pass a resolution, but this is a process that can go up to the Security Council, and this will pave the way for that. One thing is that the Western powers do not like to see a country stand independently. Therefore, when our country is trying to stand independently, this is how they oppose it. They use the efforts to suppress the LTTE to create instability in the country. Therefore, we should not think that we are a small country. We have had a great civilization. America has a history of around 400 to 500 years. Therefore, if we stand tall, keeping in mind the great civilization we had, I believe we cannot be overcome by America or any other powerful country. Has the challenge been accepted properly? Is this something that was put to us yesterday, the day before, or 1 month back? It is up to us to decide on how we are going to get ahead of this problem and move forward. Therefore, we should address this problem successfully. In the meantime, the strike action launched by the junior staff and several other categories of employees of several hospitals has been called off. Convener of the Joint Health Trade Union Committee, WAD Wimalaratne, stated that the strike ended as the relevant officials had addressed the demands of the strike action.
The strike was launched last afternoon demanding solutions to 11 issues faced by several categories of employees in hospitals across the country. The day-to-day activities of a number of hospitals were disrupted as a result. Wimalaratne stated that the relevant officials had requested a few more days to provide solutions to the issues raised. Wimalaratne went on to say that they are ready to find solutions to the problems through discussions with the relevant officials.
In the meantime, the Ministry of National Heritage has decided to tighten the security of all museums belonging to the Department of National Museums. Ministerial Secretary Kanti Wijayatunga said that instructions have been given to the directors of museums in this regard.
The Ministry of National Heritage has taken this decision following the recent incident where several items belonging to the National Museum were stolen. Meanwhile, the ground floor of the National Museum, which was temporarily closed following the incident, will be open to the public today. The Ministerial Secretary said 7 members who were involved in the security of the museum were interdicted following the robbery of artifacts by breaking into the second floor of the museum.
Today marks World Water Day. News First has a special report compiled on the significance of this day.
The World Water Day is marked today, focusing its attention on the importance of fresh water and advocating for the sustainable management of freshwater resources. 22nd of March 1993 was designated as the first World Water Day by the United Nations General Assembly. This year, World Water Day is commemorated under the theme Water and Food Security. Issuing a release on the World Water Day, UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon points out that unless we increase our capacity to use water wisely in agriculture, we will fail to end hunger and we will open the door to a range of other ills, including drought, famine and political instability. Meanwhile, the chairman of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board, Karunasena Hettiarachchi, states that the conservation of sources of obtaining water is important in order to preserve water resources in Sri Lanka. He points out that most water sources in the country are facing threats.
Venerable Walave Hengunuwave Dhammaratana Thera, who was appointed as the incumbent of the Mihintale Raj Mahavihara, visited former incumbent Venerable Namal Veve Ratanasara Thera yesterday. Our correspondent said that the Thera visited the Mihintale Raj Mahavihara along with a group of devotees to request permission to take over duties of his appointment.
He further stated that even though a permission was requested, the former incumbent Venerable Namal Veve Ratnasara Thera has not granted permission. It is reported that several officers of the Mihintale police were present during the incident. Subsequently, the Mihintale Divisional Secretary, who arrived at the location, has held a discussion with Venerable Namal Veve Ratnasara Thera. A news correspondent said that the former incumbent has said that he will not change his decision in this regard. Subsequently, the group, including Venerable Walava Hengunuwave Dhammaratana Thera, has departed from the location after the divisional secretary briefed the Commissioner of Buddhist Affairs over the phone in this regard.
Starting off your sports news this morning, the final match of the Asia Cup 2012 will be played between Bangladesh and Pakistan in Mirpur today. The match is scheduled to commence at 1:30 p.m. Sri Lankan time. Now, incidentally, this is the first time that Bangladesh have made it to the finals in an Asian Cup tournament. Now take a look at your currency exchange rates. Before we wrap up the news, the chief suspect in connection with the killing of the two bhikkhus in Kotte has been arrested early this morning. Police media spokesperson SP Ajit Rohana stated that he appreciates the assistance received from the public to carry out investigations in this regard. Well, with that, we wrap up this edition of Primetime Breakfast News. Of course, don't forget to log on to www.newsfirst.lk for the very latest on the world around you. Up next is Good Morning Sri Lanka.